Hey House, don't tell anyone, but I'm gonna give you the secret to the Alliance boss so that we can win. When you attack the boss and kill him, you get points. And when he dies, you kill him again. And you get more points.
Whoa, that's like seeing into the Matrix.
Hey guys, this is DP0427 here at the Hall of Justice for the Justice League of Reddit. And with me today, we have Mr. Scotty Mac and Duloth.
Hi, guy.
Hey, what's going on?
We're here today to talk about a bit of an issue going on in the community right now. And it has to do with this ominous entity called the Court of Owls. So, who wants to tell me about the Court of Owls? I think it's Mr. Scotty Mac.
You here's what happened. Okay, so obviously we were all just minding our own business, looking out for the best interest of everybody, doing as we do over here at the Justice League of Reddit. And all of a sudden I get this phone call, right? And I look down, and instead of the regular caller ID, it's the bat symbol. And I'm like, oh God. So I look around, and I pick up the phone, and I say, hello? And it's Bruce. And he goes, Scotty, we're having a problem with the Court of Owls. They're really trying to take over Gotham and the whole world, and they're using it through exploiting the raid features. They're really going deep, and they're using all of their insider knowledge that they bought with their wealth and influence to try to subvert the entire organization. And I was like, Bruce, man, what do you need from us? And he's like, you need to go out there and tell the people that there is light in the darkness. And I was like, that's really screwed up because, this is Batman, Anyways, so I was like, no worries, Bruce. We'll get the table together and we'll do everything we can. And he was pretty happy. So that's why we called us all here today.
Right.
But the point is that we let Bruce understand that as Justice League, you always need to have a villain to fight and a role to cover. So if we are Justice, we needed some villain. So we secretly recruited Raja Ghul just to instill them this, illusion of power. He recruited the biggest whales he could in Gotham, and they said, you have to create this secret society, and you will own the city, and then we will expand, and we will rule the world. And they all jumped on this idea, and Rush come to us and said, they baited it. So that's the real point. The Justice League needed the Court of Owls. They need to have this illusion of power, illusion of freedom and liberty to act on their own and be proud villains. And instead they are, a bunch of henchmen that basically work for us. Bruce, keep it calm. It's under control.
So basically they exist because we allow them to exist. In a nutshell, the whole issue with exploits and the raid system, it's not like, the all-righteous WB let them be the only ones to have that privilege. There are other more righteous entities out there who better suit and represent the needs of the community, especially the most well-known community out there for the DC Legends community. I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about without having to mention the Redditverse. So in any case, just to let you know, there's not only two people out there testing and looking out for your needs. There's probably more, like I said, more righteous and well-deserving people out there, content creators, community moderators, and so on and so forth, who have your best interests at heart. So, with that, you guys can rest assured that things will probably be under control going forward. And I think Bruce can chill a little bit.
I'll let him know.
Okay, cool. So, on to a more serious topic and back to reality. We're actually here today to talk to you guys about raids in terms of what we, as an alliance, the Justice League of Reddit, think about raids. And after the 24-hour cycle that we had battling Steppenwolf. I guess we'll just jump right into it. So first, Duloth, what do you think about it?
So my point is that the event is cool. We waited like 2 years for this, but the feeling that I got when I played it seems like, you know, some kind of a fast foodish event where you just dig in, take your food, you hit it, and you just forget whatever you hit it, because it's nothing that leaves you with that epic feeling. When you beat maybe, you know, Necron for the first time in Chapter 5 of The Land of the Undead, it's, you know, it's epic because it threatens you to return. This doesn't have any storyline. It's just Steppenwolf that pops up and says nothing. It just pops up.
So
maybe the first time it would have been cool.
So basically you're saying he's a damage sponge, is what he is.
Yeah. You just go there, you hit him, probably on auto, probably with Atrocitus, Wonder Girl, Superman, and DOJ. Best team ever. And then you just ignore everything. You just grind it. And that's the other part that I didn't like about the event. It's a real grind fest where you want to get to this 100 million target, and then you don't care about it. And you can capitalize on the energy, capitalize on helping other people. Most of the part, I got to the weird crystals, and then I just shared my eye-level boss to the Alliance. So that's a good part where I can share my content to other people. Right. But that's it. It's just not an epic feeling, and it's something that you don't want to do every day because it's grindy as hell.
Okay. Yeah, so that was the one thing that I felt about it too. Like, it was really, really intense. Like, they dropped, and I know, you know, most of our European brethren were all sleeping or, you know, busy or whatnot. So, you know, it hit like 2 p.m. Eastern or something, and a lot of us East Coasters just went nuts, right? So, but I mean, we had no idea really how to be effective. All we knew is just play, grind. And I mean, I played probably for almost 12 hours solid. So like, and there's a plus and a minus to that, but like, it was super intense. I found that like, it was really neat that it kind of teased you and allowed you to go almost infinite. And by doing that, I think that was a really good hook because, you know, you never really had to stop playing, but oh man. Yeah, it was super intense. I can't imagine what that would actually look like over the course of an extended period.
Yeah.
It almost feels unsustainable.
I mean, based on what you and Duloth have said, like people are worried about the duration of it. And going forward, I think most likely it's going to be like what we had, like at most a day long or maybe at most a weekend long. I don't expect it to be like, you know, a week long thing. Cause if it was a week long, people would just die and burn out. Like people would literally pass out from that. Right. So,
I think the only other piece that I want to contribute is, and it's sort of like a piggyback on what Duloth said. You know, you get to the point where you kind of reach that ceiling and the epic feeling kind of fades away. I think that a lot of that was sort of an artificial ceiling, which was caused based by the power level of the raid boss that they selected, right? Like, I mean, they capped out at 150 and, you know, with the right team, with the right gear scores, you know, and by the way, like, don't forget, like, we're all gear 11 folks here, right? So because of that, you know, we have a higher ceiling of achievability, you know, on our solo side. So, you know, whereas we could one stroke a 90 boss, you know, there are people in gear 10 land that are just like freaking out at the 90 boss, you know, like there's no way I'm going to take this without, you know, 3 waves. But I think that if they can introduce a higher ceiling, like go even higher. I mean, if Darkseid is, I mean, they've been teasing Darkseid. So if Darkseid's the end boss and he's level 500, like you spawn a level 500 and it should take your alliance like an hour and a half to whittle him down. Like that is the sort of stuff that I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
And the thing I like about the alliance timers is that, most of the raid boss timers I think are the same too. No, actually, no. The raid boss timers are about 2 hours long-ish, and then the alliance boss timers I think are about 4 hours or 5 hours long. They're slightly longer, right? Yeah. So if you make the alliance bosses at least like super, super hard at the highest level, you get to a point where it's deserving of that expiration time, right? So you need that however many hours to kill him because he's that hard.
The point is that the bosses were tuned right now where they did increase the health of the boss, or maybe their ability, because I could have expected, level 2 boss just to keep the debuff, then level 10 losing the debuff, or maybe just dropping all the bleeds and keeping the rest, then level 50, because you could play different strategies up to there, and then level 150 was immune to everything. The point is that they just increased his health and damage, and you ended up being with an AoE that one-shot your Atrocitus, and then you have to think about, okay, so let's start playing Donatroy, so if my DOJ doesn't count, it doesn't kill Atrocitus if it doesn't rest. So it's just that if you increase just the power of the boss, you end up having to play something that resists the first attack, and then you can shelve out the damage. It will be more interesting if there's, something to add. For example, in another game, the boss have the same health. So level 150 does little bit more damage, but has the same health, but gets some kind of let's think about awareness. So, level 150 gets 5 stacks of awareness. So if you don't plan your characters, your team composition in a proper way, you cannot remove those stacks of awareness, and he gets 5 more. So you have to think about it, because basically I did auto level 1 and level 150 all the same. For me, it was just like one more, time that I had to run the boss. There's no strategy at the moment. There's no...
Right. So basically, you're advocating for something a little bit more challenging that requires more strategy and not just a smash and grab, right?
Challenging and strategy, they're not necessarily the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I agree. No, by the way, I'm 100% on board, right? I think that at the higher levels, you should be rewarding higher geared characters. You should be rewarding wider rosters and deeper rosters. And I think that speaks to it, because maybe, like you said, awareness is really important and all that stuff. But I just think that it doesn't necessarily have to be just harder. It shouldn't be necessarily harder if you can intelligently strategize. I guess that's the distinction that I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, that's our feedback, I guess, in terms of what we think of raids at the moment and what we think we could get from maybe future bosses and things like that too. What do you guys think about going forward in terms of, let's say, potential new bosses? That was a question on Reddit, I think I saw a while ago. We know that Darkseid's probably going to come after Steppenwolf, but who else could we have as a boss from the DC universe? Any ideas?
You could do the Anti-Monitor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, that could be a really big one.
Trigon?
Trigon would be a sick one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think that the issue here is that they are starting with Darkseid, and
he's the biggest bad. He's the biggest
boss.
bad.
So I would have started with maybe just maybe have Trigon, or maybe have
some Apocalyptans, right, or New Gods.
Yeah. So just make it, not up to 11 on the start, because you started with step.
Yeah,
I think that go.
Yeah, I was saying it's like they started and they showed their hand right off the bat, so there's not really much else to go with after that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You've got some guys, like you got Mongol. Like, you could probably do something with Mongol, right? You could do something with Trigon. You can do something with
Warlord.
Right. Yeah.
You know what would be really interesting? If they would add a boss that doesn't necessarily have to be very difficult in the sense that his HP pool is high, but something very hard to deal with that would require the strategy element that Duloth was advocating for. Something like Mixus Pitalik. Imagine a little gnome that would be like a little gnome that's so hard to kill because you have to figure out the right way to kill him in the time that they give you. Yeah. Right?
And the time is, sorry if I go over this, the time is an issue. I'd rather have the 1 minute and 30 scrap it out and give the player 30 moves. Because there are some heroes that you don't want to use, maybe Superboy, which takes like 15 seconds of an animation.
Right.
Agree.
It's worthless. Give me 20 moves, 30 moves, just do the math.
Right.
And it's better for me because, I can play a call assist AV team. I can play some with a slower animation. Character like Bane, Swamp Thing, whichever does an out-of-turn attack that does not do that much of damage,
right.
It's an hindrance more than...
It's actually a very interesting point because even with characters that you would think to use normally in the raid, like, let's say, Wonder Woman Defender of Justice is probably one that everyone was using during the raid. She has 3 moves, and you basically never want to use her AoE because it takes so long for the animation to finish, and it doesn't do that much damage. Her second move actually does more damage than her basic, but has a slightly longer animation, and the damage is not that different from her basic. So most of the time, you just want to keep spamming her basic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I'd really like to see for the raids is right now I felt like the individual raid bosses were a higher level potential than the alliance ones, and I'd like to see that 100% inversed.
Yeah, I agree.
The other thing is right now the payoff between the 2 different reward ladders. You have the alliance rewards and you have the individual rewards, right? Now, for those of you who are sort of still trying to wrap your head around the reward systems, and if you guys didn't really pay attention to it because, the raid was only around for 24 hours, that's very tense, there was a reward ladder for individuals that you could monitor where you are on the ladder. And as you progress up that ladder, as you increase up that ladder to the 35th reward, I think, up all the way to the top. At that point, you'll see lower level bosses stop spawning and only higher level bosses continue to spawn. And as you progress up that ladder, at the same time, at the end of the raid, you'll get rewarded based on your standing as a player in that ladder, and they'll dish you out a bunch of level 5 XP and legendary essence. And then as an alliance, depending on where you fall as an alliance at the end of the raid, they'll give you some gems and some speed force. Now, depending on which one's more important to you, you probably want to push towards one thing or another. My general tip is to try and set your individual goal. Like if I want to get the Superman shards, if I want to get the rings, or if I want to go all the way to the top and get the rebirth crystals, that's what I want to do. Grind as hard as I can to get to that point. Once I'm there, you've hit that. Right? As an individual, go back and help your alliance to help push up to the highest rank your alliance can get to. Because there's no other, like once you hit your target for the day, and then, continue past that. But I mean, in terms of the actual rewards, what do you guys think of that? Do you think they should be fixed, or do you think they're fine as they are?
I really, really, really liked that we got a crap ton of XP orbs and other stuff along the ladder. Like along the individual ladder, nice little benefits, great chunks of character shards, rings, like all the great stuff. Being able to get a huge chunk of like legendary essence and XP mats for the individuals was amazing. And I think for the alliance, just getting a bunch of gems as an alliance, I think it's great. Now, depending on how long these raids last for, obviously some of those numbers need to be tweaked. But I think in the short sort of like 36, 48 hour dose that we got, it felt pretty healthy. It definitely felt like it was worthwhile work.
My opinion was that beside the fact that I have to point out that leaderboard, so the ring stuff and whatever, shards, ring, orbs, and legendary essence were awarded, while low-level gear and experience were not, because I kept track of them. So that's a little bit of an issue, but I think that I posted a bug report for that, and I said, we are listening, we will try not to do that next time. And the other thing that I think is important is that when you were playing the solo leaderboard, you could put your mind to a reward, Superman, and you could get there and gaining something in the process, which were EV energy or essence or whatever. While grinding the alliance part, you were helping your alliance to get gems. But that's it. The single boss rewards were lackluster. If, for example, they would have given, lower tier, just one shard, or Martian Manhunter, because, he's the poster boy for Alliance, maybe higher tier, level 80, they would have given 5 shards for each death of boss to the Martian Manhunter. He would have been worth to grind that, and besides just helping your alliance. I feel that even the alliance point that you get, I think at Cup level 80, it was like 1,400 alliance point, which is basically nothing.
Yeah.
They could have, if those would have been 5,000, 10,000, it would have been more interesting. And you could have split that reward between the attackers, because right now there's no incentive into just the health pool is so low, you end up with 2 or 3 guys killing a boss, and that's it. Even at the highest tier.
I agree with that completely.
So I'm fine with the solo, let's say, raid boss rewards, even the solo leaderboard and the solo end of event reward, and I'm perfectly fine with the Alliance Gem and Speed Force reward. I'm not okay with the single kill of an Alliance boss.
That's fair. So, I mean, also, otherwise, aside from the little bugs that you mentioned, that certain rewards were not being paid out, but the rest of it is fine then. So if they fix that,
perfect.
Because clearly that's not intended, and they said that they want to fix that. So let's assume for the next go around that they'll make all the rewards being paid out correctly as you're going up the ladder. So then it'll be fine. So, okay, well, we'll see what they do with that. But otherwise, it was a pretty good event, I guess you could say, and we'll look forward to the rest of it.
I'm waiting for it. And I would put it on the weekend, starting Saturday and ending Sunday, because during Sunday you have more ways to trigger the raid boss.
Yeah,
and you are, invited into spend gems on the gear event, and instead of, if it runs on a Wednesday, who bothers to run the legendary events? It's on Tuesday for me. So
if it goes live, it can go live. Here's the thing: if it goes live on a Friday, it should fire up the same day that they flip over the Hero Challenge, and it should run through the gear event days, because those are opportunities that people are always playing a lot, and lots of opportunities to trigger raid bosses, and then have it end. Either have it end on Monday like PvP, or have it end at some random time, right? Like in between Monday PvP reset and Sunday midnight Eastern or something. You know what I mean? Like sometime in there, whether it be in the morning on Monday or whatever it is. So I think that would be great.
I mean, basically, they need to give us some warning ahead of time too, because they can't just drop it on us and all right, go. No,
because of the intensive grind behind it. I think that's absolutely.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The day that it dropped, it was a very non-productive day for me at work.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. So can I just go out and say that I am super proud of our alliance mates.
Yep. Me too.
We all stepped up. Our Discord lit up like a Christmas tree. Everyone was trying to figure out, how to do this and what we were supposed to do to be efficient and effective and how things are working, because it was kind of dropped on us without a lot of, explanation and fanfare. And the little helpful tips and tricks were not. So, I'm really, really proud of all the guys that stepped up and really just hit the grind, because it was a really nice experience to be able to figure out that puzzle together. And I think that in the grand scheme of things, for being a heavily free to play, mostly seafaring creature free environment, I think we did a goddamn good job. So kudos to all of you guys out there in the JLR. Love you.
Yeah. Also, one thing that you mentioned about the fact that we're helping each other out in our alliance, the one thing that I remember from that at the very end was with Chrombopulous Michael. He was at work, and he was really trying to get to that rebirth crystal, like the 100 million range, but he didn't have enough time to actually battle through things manually. So I said, well, that's the good thing about sharing with your alliance. And the advice I said is try to start as many battles as you can, exit out of them, because you can actually share them once you've exited out of them, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all awake. We're all there. We're all waiting for the end of the raid. So we're like, and we're done. So I already hit my 100 million at that point. It's like, so I can try and help him. So Neutron was there. You and a couple of other of you guys were there. Yeah. So start your battles. We'll try and complete them for you. All you have to do is go back and claim the rewards so that you can hit your goal before the raid ends. Unfortunately, he hit a bug. So there was a bug that a lot of people were experiencing. Was related to the no spawn bug. And now this is still speculative. I'm not really sure what the cause of this is, but many people think it's due to hitting the alliance boss repeatedly without going back to your raid bosses. Because we find that after a certain point, if you keep just grinding the alliance boss, for some reason, you stop getting raid boss spawns. And we're not sure why. But that seems to be the common consensus of what the cause is. And I know that Hate Mail and some others of the Owls were saying that, so that's what got me thinking about that too. And I remember this is something that has come up before. So, anyways, for you guys in the future, if that's something that you guys also experienced, think about what you were doing that day and if that was not also the same thing. And should that be the case for the next one, try to alternate between hitting your alliance boss and then go doing some raid bosses and then going back to the alliance boss, because to sort of alleviate the potential of this bug, right? Yeah. So people were literally locked out for hours without any raid spots, and that kind of sucks. So
yeah, that's a feel bad moment for sure.
Yeah, but if that didn't happen to Crom, I think we would have been able to help him push to his 100 million mark. But whatever, it is what it is.
I agree.
All right. Well, I guess with that, I mean, I don't think there's too much else left to say, so we'll wrap things up there. And any last words, guys?
No, just when you are, going out, remember to take your, harpoon that we get in detention by the jail. So just carry it with you. Maybe you may need those.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should just make sure that we all earn the Ahab moniker.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, anyways, with that, I guess we'll end it there. Have a good night, guys. Hope this helps.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of WROL Broadcasts, a subsidiary of the Oddsman and We Are Legends. To view additional content and support the show, please go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts.